Good evening. Tonight we're going to be working on a watercolor, which is going to be done over this pen and ink drawing that we did last week. Excuse me. It's Usagi Yojimbo with the little dinosaur creatures and a mini Godzilla. It was an interesting request, but we struggled through it last week. I actually had to start over and completely redraw parts of this, but during the week I finished inking it, and yeah, we're going to see where we can take it. I'll show off the Undersea Hero. This was the first sketch cover that I've drawn on the new Undersea Hero Zero books. I'm hoping to get at least a handful of them done before San Diego. This is what the blank looks like, and you can see here's the drawing, here's the blank, and then this is the regular cover. One of the things that I thought was cool was it's got a pull-out poster in the center. This is a poster that you can just pull out. You just pop them out the staples, and then you can actually see this is the colored artwork, but on only the sketch cover, on the inside of the sketch cover is the original artwork for the poster, and you can see the pen and ink work. And then there's the color version on the center spread. Both versions have the pull-out poster, as you can see, but only the sketch cover has the line art on the inside, which I just thought it was neat. You know, I like doing different stuff with the different versions. Okay. This was actually, I thought I'd show this off. I went to the different companies will have different offsite things at San Diego Comic-Con, and Webtoon had like a casino night. They had like free drinks and stuff, and they went around and gave invitations to different artists and stuff. And I got one of them and went up there and got a free beverage. I saw John Boy Myers, and I saw Desiree if she pops in. She was there. But we got a fair amount of work tonight, so we're going to get to going on the underpainting. Now, as you can see, we got Usagi here. He's primarily got a blue, like almost pure cyan shirt, and the rest of him is white and gray, a little bit of brown here and there. But what I wanted to do to really make that blue pop was to give like an orange sun and like a magenta-y orange background. But we still need to start with our underpainting, and I did a little bit of color mixing. If anybody's painting along, this is lemon yellow, golden yellow mixed together with just a little bit, about 2 parts lemon, 1 part golden. And then this is 2 different tones of our Payne's gray mixture. I just got a brand new tube of the Grumbacher Academy. This is a darker one, this is a lighter one, and you can see right here on the on my paper here, I did some little tests. But we really are only going to start with the yellow and the Payne's gray. And this is our light source right here. You can't really see it, but there is the faintest outline of a circle. And we'll get some of our paints out of the way here. And as always, we have 2 jars of water, one for warm colors, one for cool colors. But let's get started. Give it a little stir. This is a round Princeton sable brush. Hope everybody's doing okay tonight. One of the reasons I use underpainting is this last week, our friend Michael was asking about doing watercolors on Bristol board. Now, this sketch cover is a little thin, so I'm a little worried about how the paint's going to react, but we will press on. Sometimes that means you just have to use thinner and move a little quicker, which is harder and it takes a lot of practice. But this is our lighter and this is our darker tone. as I've admitted to many times, Payne's gray is my crutch for shading. It really is. I just think it's beautiful, and it mixes so well with so many colors. Whether you're neutralizing a warm color or if you're just deepening a dark color, I just think it's just such a beautiful color. It's definitely a little warm in the studio today. Hope everybody's having a nice evening. I was definitely running around like crazy lately, getting stuff printed in time for San Diego. Had to print some flyers, got a new banner printed, got a table runner printed, so we're gonna be looking about as professional as I can muster. And got a handful of folks watching tonight, so welcome aboard. One thing that's changed a lot with my watercolor painting over the years is I've gone to more flat colors. And I know that sounds weird for watercolor, but I just really like how it looks. Basically using channels to color. And that's really what I'm doing drawings, if I'm doing some sort of watercolor sketch of like a landscape or whatever. Won't be surprised if you see me sweat onto this thing. It is warm. Might be able to hear my neighbors yelling. Hi, Dr. Nick. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Desiree. I still have. I was showing off Desiree. I still have the webtoon chip from that casino night with the free beverages on the rooftop there. That was a who was there? There was John Boy Myers, Fred Van Lente, I think, was wandering around. So a handful of artists wandering around there. Free is the operative word. I remember them walking around handing out the invitations. It was cool. It was cool. I still have my badge. I was going to show off the badge from 2018 just because I had it handy. Kevin Eastman and Ben Bishop promoting their book. But this is an exhibitor badge. This is what they give like the booths, and I got it from New England Comics, who I was there with. Let's see. Honestly, since then, Webtoon has to be like the biggest comic publisher in the world at this point, as far as eyeballs seeing the work goes. Hey, Michael, good to see you. You feeling better? Everything on the up and up? Ask, where do you recommend getting art prints done to sell at conventions? Well, it depends. What kind of art prints are you looking to get made? Are you looking to get made like art prints, or are you looking to get more like the standard convention-y type prints? Because if you're doing that, then you can go pretty much anywhere as long as they clean and calibrate their machines and you get decent color reproduction. Because I've even for like really cheap prints and stuff gone through like um, U printing. Jack Prints out of Ohio does a really nice job. Robinson Anderson. They're commonly referred to as RA Comics Direct. They do a really nice job. My comics were printed by Comic Impressions, and they do a really good job of keeping their stuff clean and calibrated. Because when you're doing digital prints, which is what short run prints usually are, you can look real close and you can see there's no liner marks, there's no corona wire remnants, there's nothing there. It's clean. Because I've had prints done at local places before that they just don't clean their machines. Because I used to run a print house, and unfortunately I know what to look for with that. But then there was a place downtown in Boston that I used to get my stuff done at. They did a great job. I mean, it's the kind of thing where if you're getting just standard prints, I would give your local a try. You know, that way you can get them like right when you need them. You can always ask for a hard proof, and it'll only cost you a couple of bucks. And if you don't like it, you can order them online or whatever. And if you want like some fancy art print recommendations, I can send you some links. When I'm not on the stream, I can send you those. And they're expensive. Like if you want to get like giclées, like real giclées done, like it'll cost you some bread. That's good to hear, Mike. I'm glad to see that you're doing better. Jay Kennedy, Archie artist extraordinaire in the house. How are you this evening, my friend? Excited for Indiana Jones? Riverside Art is actually one of the places that will do nice prints. Absolutely. Yep. That's actually just up the road a little bit. You know, 20 minutes away from you, not too bad. And I've shopped there quite a bit. The people there are very nice. You're mixed on it? My goodness. What does the world come to? I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to go see it. What are the rules for what can and cannot be a print? Are certain characters off the table? I mean, honestly, like if you want to know the letter of the law, and it's why I don't do prints is of mainstream characters is because it's the real answer is none of them. Um, like you can't do Spider-Man, you can't anything that's owned by somebody else. You're really not supposed to make prints out of. That's the truth. You can use public domain characters. You can use all sorts of stuff like that. You know, if you like H.P. Lovecraft, if you like Golden Age superheroes, like they're all fair game. But you know, Spider-Man, the well-known characters like Batman and things like that, they're all trademarked and owned by big corporations. And I've been trying very hard to get permission to do my own prints from some of the companies, and some of them have given me permission to reproduce stuff in art books, but not for prints specifically. So, and like anytime I sign a contract to work on these characters, even though it's commonplace, they usually look the other way. It says it in my contract that I can't do it. So I don't do it. And I know it falls under the everyone does it. People want to say implied consent or whatever. You know, I'm just, yeah. Original art is fine, yeah, because you know, even though they own the trademarks, you know, you own the copyright to your artwork. Once you make something, it's yours. And like um, one-offs, you know, I'm sure there's some law that says you can't do those either somewhere, but like there's really, you know, personally I'm okay with original art of mainstream characters of that type of fan art. You know, and you can do, like I said, public domain stuff, H.P. Lovecraft, 20,000 Leagues. You know, there's a ton of stuff out there that you can use. Uh, a lot of a lot of things. If that's the kind of thing you want to do, if you know, and I've waited till I've had enough of my own stuff to really promote my own characters, and that's what I'm kind of doing. Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's one of the reasons why so many people have not gone full digital with their inking or whatever they're penciling. That way, they have the physical assets to sell. Oops, made a mistake. been a little bit since it's been since that Jessica Jones piece that I did for my buddy at NEC that I've painted anything because I've been so busy doing stuff for San Diego and Undersea Hero. I just haven't had any time to paint anything. So I'm a little rusty. I'll try not to mess it up. Got a fair number of people in here. Welcome, welcome, new people. Oy. Anybody watching anything good? We're watching the second season of The Bear here. That's been enjoyable. It's been a good show. Let's see, I don't want to use too much Payne's Gray. Ronaldinho says he's watching The Idol. Superman and Lois ended on a banger of a cliffhanger last night. I've seen some of that show. It's a pretty good show. I'll probably watch some more of that show. Mike says he's been watching a lot of YouTube and Twitch. I watch a fair amount of YouTube. I'll listen to different podcasts that are on YouTube. I'll catch the cartoonist kayfabe guys. I'll catch their videos. There's a few other artists. I'll check out their stuff. See what other people are doing, translating our silly comics to video in different ways. Jay says he wants me to talk about pirate metal. I did not listen to much in the way of pirate metal. I did listen to dwarf metal on the way to Contropolis, PA. Come to find out that one of the songs I enjoyed was based on some sort of streaming video game reference, but it's beyond my level of understanding, Jay. It's when the internet starts to fold back in on itself. All right. In order to make a little bit of differentiation between the background elements and the characters themselves, I'm going to add a coldness to their shadows, which is this Payne's Gray still. And it's really just, you can see sort of where it's going. Jonathan says new stuff would be Star Trek, Strange New World, Secret Invasion, old stuff, Modern Family. Never seen Modern Family, and don't have Paramount. But I would, if I had Paramount, I would watch this new Star Trek shows. I hear that some of them are really, really good. My friend Jeff really likes that Below Decks show. Jay says Windrose, in case anyone is interested. What's lame, Jay? You've known for 20 years that I'm pretty lame. I plan on revealing the big. I just got the go ahead, so I will be revealing the big cover that I got on Monday, and I will actually be taking pre-sales on those. Because while I'm waiting for those to ship, I can also have my new batch of comic book mailing boxes ship, which I am completely out of, which is strange, but it's part of being a comic artist. You got to have Desiree has Lower Decks. Yeah, it's an animated show. He says it's really good. So I haven't seen it, but Jeff usually gives good recommendations for TV shows because he can tell when a show is written well. I can't always. I can tell when like dialogue feels unnatural or um, if something just completely doesn't make sense. But as far as like quality of craftsmanship, I honestly can't always tell. So Desiree says, thanks for the reminder, Jonathan. Got to watch Secret Invasion after this. And then did watch Prodigy, which I like, even though it was targeted at kids since it was a Nickelodeon show. All right. Well, let's start adding some of our warm color, which we mixed over here. I probably am not going to watch Secret Invasion, even if I am afforded the opportunity, um, just because of the whole AI art thing. Skipping the intro. Fair enough. Enjoy what you enjoy. I do not require anyone to do whatever it is that I'm doing. Some people like watching the Yankees play baseball. I don't. I don't enjoy that, but I would never tell anyone else not to enjoy that. Nobody likes the Yankees except your friend Joe. I've got a couple of friends that are Yankees fans, and I can talk baseball with them, but I'm not going to sit through a game. No. One of the things we used to usually end up talking about is like who's somebody from the other team that you would like to have seen either play for your team or could have you respect them as a ball player and you're like, hey, he can play for my team any day. Yeah, the intro was done by creating a whole bunch of AI screens and then blending them together and basically making kind of like a rotoscopic animatic. Um, yeah, it was done using Midjourney, which is one of the AI softwares that data mined all of my art. So it used some data sets that were unethically sourced. And I'll actually have a statement from Fat Cat Funnies coming out in the not too distant future about our official stance on the subject. And that's just me not really poking the bear, but it's really just that like I see people talking about it that actually do have the ability to affect change and or at least do something in their own lives. That could help others or support others, and they're not, and I have the ability to do at least one little thing, so I'm gonna do that. I see this yellow, it looks so bright right now, it looks garish, and, that's because we're gonna be covering it almost entirely up, almost all of it. Like I said, right now we're working on those underpaintings. This is the top of these little bushes here, and there's gonna be sunlight. Hey, I don't it's one of those where it's like, I, uh, I believe strongly in it, so we'll see what happens. I definitely know we're on the same page with it, Jay. So I'm not worried. And believe me, the statement will go up on the website, and it'll be in our blog, and you'll be able to look at it under our submission guidelines. And it's 100% transparent. No baloney. So I've been working on that for a little while. I gotta have a lawyery type look at it just to make sure I'm not causing any problems. And currently, underseahero.com that you're seeing around right now all goes to fatcatfunnies.com. And for those that don't know, if you've maybe seen one of our books around, that's just been my brand label that Jay and I have published under for since 2007. Yeah, 2007. Let's see our little logo. 2007. Okay. point, we're going to need to do a little mixing. So I will grab a different brush. That's a pretty color. I need to lay down a bit more yellow on the background, but I just wanted to get that done so that we had it. And I've got more of a orangey color right here. Jay says, I've been mooching for over a decade right now, no regrets. I think we need a spotlight for that. It's not true. Not mooching. I mean, I'm so happy for you, man. You got more covers coming out this year than I do, man. You're cooking this year. It's the summer of Jay. You are crushing it this year, man. Yeah, I got to go easy on the washes. You can see there's a little bit of paper damage right there. So what happens when the paper gets saturated? So went a little too heavy right there. So we're gonna have to back off. I've been trying to go really delicately as we go along to not put too much paint down, because different paper has a certain absorption rate and it has a saturation point that varies from paper to paper. So we're going to have to go real light. I'm going to have to navigate this real delicate. I'm going to mute the microphone for a minute so I can hit the blow dryer on the piece. Let me move the palette. Yeah, every blank cover is different, but you can see it bounce back a little bit. You see that? Now, what I'm actually thinking about doing, since I have a handful of these, is I don't know if you remember this, Jay, but back in college, one of the ways that you can work with paper that gets to a saturation point is actually to saturate it completely. So what I'd do is I would pop the staples off and put the whole thing into a trough of water till it gets to full saturation. Take it out and then lay it into the sun for it to dry, and then this actually won't happen. You'll get full saturation over the paper and it'll change the quality of the paper, but it would, especially if you pressed it, it would not get splotchy. Does that make sense? All right. We just have to be really careful with the amount of water we put on this. This has a little bit of old paint in it. Give it a little mush. It's okay. It's similar to what we're doing. Moving quickly. Getting just a little bit of paint down. Moving quickly, moving quickly. Trying to keep it even for right now. You can actually already see some of the. When I use just regular Bristol, this never happens. Like I never get this type of splotching. Gotta move quick. Quick, quick, quick. I mean, I honestly think this is if I were to, this would be an opaque scrim, which is not the best for painting. It's really not. This is not a Bristol. This is just a sketch cover. And to be honest, this is one of IDW's lighter ones. And I am not loving it, but we're going to just do our best. Person who commissioned it very much wanted color, so I'm also hoping, and this is one of the reasons I advocate artists use a finishing spray. I'm hoping that the fixative at the end helps pull it together. which it very well might. There's a good chance of that. I mean, you'd be surprised how many pieces I've pulled back from the edge with just a spray of the. Oh, I totally agree, Jay. And you use nice paper. Like you usually use really nice paper at surprisingly nice at a convention. A little more mixing. As for this, what we need is we need to use this as our lightest. This is our light. So I would not recommend this paper, if I'm being honest, for sketches or paintings. Like the paper that I get for my sketch covers, this is very close to Bristol. It's over 100 pounds. It takes ink wonderfully. And it's actually one of the reasons I stuck with Comic Impressions, in addition to them doing a good job calibrating for their color reproduction. Vince asks, are there techniques that you've learned from other artists that use watercolor, like Agnes Grabowska, Katie Cook, or others? Yes, I've learned from other artists, but not other cartoonists. While I have met and interacted with Agnes and Katie, I've never known them well enough to be like, "Hey, what do you do for watercolor?" Um, and we paint very differently. I actually learned from several different artists that my family was friends with. One of them was Betty Munier. Another was Marshall Dubach. You can look up their work online if you choose. Yeah, this is not a forgiving paper, and this is I wouldn't even call this Bristol, like I said, this is like an opaque scrim cover stock, which is just awful. The, um the piece that I did of, Jessica Jones had more washes on it, and that was on Bristol, and it worked just fine. It also just comes from that's really all that I had was Bristol paper. The background is proving to be the most challenging aspect of this because normally I can just layer color on top of itself, and it's being difficult. Generally, at bookstores, you see a lot of students employed there. Um, and they are right. Media paper is designed for more wet media, the mixed media paper, and it is nice paper. I mean, if you want to spend the big bucks on like Arches paper, go nuts. I mean, but see, now that the paper's a little saturated, it's a little more forgiving. You can go back in and add a little more and just you're got a layer after layer after layer of just adding a little bit more pigment each time. Make our way through the forest here. Because this, I mean, let's be honest, if we're getting technical and we're going to go down the fine art direction of describing works, This is not a painting. This is a colored drawing. The one thing I will say when you're painting on Bristol, you really gotta lay on the pigment. You can't cheap out on the stuff you get out of the tubes, like the color choices. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to go with like a magenta, and then when we go back in, he's got like a bright blue, and then we get the plants. I mean, this is really just the underpainting from here down. Here, we'll do a Usagi shirt. That'll start to give us a little bit more of a, people can start to see where we're going. This is just a cerulean blue. Cerulean blue. That was an X-Files reference. The Pusher episodes. Oh, thank you, Michael. You know, you've got, maybe sometime what I'll do is I'll take a drawing that I've done that will, I'll offer the line art online that maybe people can get them printed out at like their local Kinko's, or I can, and we can paint along together. We can all paint, have like a paint night on the show. And I can talk you through how I paint. You guys can paint however you want. I just would love to see it. We got so many painters and artists in here. I would love it for us to like do something like that. And if it's just something we could color real easy in one night, like a headshot of a character or something, I think that would be fun. And even non-artists, like even just using markers. Yeah, no, we all share at the end. That would be fun. I'll let you guys pick the character. We'll start a thread tomorrow. You guys can pick the character, and then we'll figure it out. Obviously, if there's not enough interest, we don't have to do anything. We can just hang out. But I don't know, if 3 or 4 people wanted to do it, I think it would be good. I wanted like an earthy orange for the ground, so we need some yellow ochre, which is one of my favorite colors to paint with. You can see it's a nice earthen gold. It's a really great color. It can do so much. Like, it's a really strong, excellent color. We got to really wash our brush. We're going to keep using the same brush because I'm being a little lazy, but that's okay. And normally I would go in and add some underpainting to warm parts of the figure. But what I'm trying to do right now is really just figure out where all the light breaks are and everything, because I did not have that solidified in my head when we changed directions on this piece before. Because if you remember, we had to start over like halfway through. And I had a general idea of the colors in my head, but not completely. See how we're doing here. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a great color. And I never go straight out of the tube with a color, so I added just a tiny, tiny bit of that warm orange color, just to give us a little bit of a unifying color. And when we do that underpainting, we don't want to go around it with our tone. We want to go right over it. What it'll do is it'll neutralize. It'll no longer be cold, or where we have those warm bits, it'll warm it up. And what I like to do is I'll let little bits of that yellow show through here and there. It gives it a nice bounce. Closer we get to that light source, I'll leave more of that yellow just shining through. This is one of the few colors that I'll use whether I'm doing oil painting or watercolor. It doesn't matter what type of painting. I really think that yellow ochre is one of those that so versatile. It's a very pretty color. Yeah, it would be we'll just call it a watercolor session. It would be fun. Yeah, I'll start a post tomorrow, and we can pick a subject and then maybe pick a date that works. Whether maybe it's after San Diego, I don't know. Let me mute. My painting teacher would yell at me for what I'm about to do next, using just a pre-mixed green. Because when I was taught how to paint, we were only allowed to use the three primary colors. We had to mix everything, which I understand why. Just as I've gotten older, I've needed to save a little time when I can sometimes. But make no mistake, I would be yelled at for that. How dare you? Now, one thing I want to point out, because the dinosaurs are green, these ones are, we can't have green, the same green behind it. So we're going to go with sort of like some different browns and reds and things like that. Or what we can do is we can neutralize it, which that might be a better idea. I actually had a neighbor when I was growing up once who always used to have the same joke about dinosaurs. And we would ask him, what color were the dinosaurs? Because, we'd only ever seen bones at that point. And he would say, pink and purple. They were all pink, solid pink or solid purple. Of course, he says it to a couple of like 10-year-old boys. We're like, pink and purple. I think Kirby got it right with Devil Dinosaur. I think Tyrannosaurus Rexes were bright red. My knees are going out, so I gotta sit down. There we go. I was having to work through a migraine yesterday. That was not very fun. Wearing sunglasses inside while working on a computer. It's a sad sight. Michael says he sold a print of the original art this week. That was a good feeling. Hey, congratulations, man. That is a good feeling. That's sweet. Was it that Bowie piece you were working on? That was looking nice. I don't think I saw the inked version of that yet. Jonathan says, that's not sad, that's rockstar move. Michael says it was the shark piece. Oh, cool. Very cool. Another thing is likenesses of public figures. You can sell likenesses of public figures. That's a You see all those blue water comics out there, like the unauthorized biography of so and so, which is crazy to me. But actually, going to use just a tiny bit of the orange. Let's do an experiment real quick. Let's take some of that sky color and just put it over the green. Yeah, it's kind of an ugly brown. Because obviously they're complementary colors on opposite ends of the color wheel, so they will neutralize each other and make a brown. But if we offset it a little bit, we might be able to come up with something that would work for the plants. And we need really two different tones. We need a one for right along here and one for towards the back. I actually need to grab some reference real quick. You see, here's my Usagi cover. And there was like a bluish green, and then there were actually some red. So that's what I think we'll do. We're going to go with like a softer green, a couple of bluish green spots, and then like I actually do like the brownish color at the bottom, but let's see what comes together. We definitely need some of the plants to be red to tie it together. But let's need some space to mix. So let's grab some of our green. We're gonna put some in two spots here. I'm actually going to use some of this blue here. It's the Payne's Gray. And then let's grab a little bit of our cerulean, put that in there. Because we don't want to introduce a new color entirely. We want to keep them together. That looks nice. Okay, we got to get some more pigment. It's too loose. Way too loose. Like I've always said, why does it cost double for a color piece for me? Because it takes me at least twice as long. At least. Get some of that cerulean in there. A little bit. There we go. Still not blue enough. Let's just wing it, right? That's going to be a red one. That's going to be a red one, I think. We're going to have to come in with some of that to neutralize it so that the dinosaurs pop a little bit. And this is where knowing your color wheel really comes in handy, because if you didn't know that and you just put the green behind the green, you're going to lose a lot of your work. Too much water, too much water. Gotta move quick, gotta move quick. Keep it soft. So red one, this will be green, green. Maybe that one will be red too, that little one. Just a little bit of water. Because there's already paint in the brush. Sometimes you just gotta add some water. I've always threatened to become an art teacher. So if we have a red there, red there, red there, we need this to be red. Let's put the two next to each other red, and then the other two. Okay, yep, we have a plan. I saw part of one of the new Godzilla movies. I was not enthralled. I have no idea which one it was, so I'm sorry. But I was not enthralled by it, so I ended up turning it off. And I like Godzilla movies. I've seen all of the old stuff. I always liked Mechagodzilla. I always liked King of Monsters. Um, what was the other one? Son of Godzilla. Those were fun movies. Manila, aka Minya. Yeah, I know you dig the Godzilla flicks, Desiree. I think we talked about that at some point. Pluto TV is going to have a dedicated Godzilla movie station. Pluto! They must be showing them, like, not just the old ones then. If you're gonna have a dedicated Godzilla station, you gotta be showing the new stuff too, I'd imagine. Maybe even wasn't there an animated series at one point? For some reason that sticks in my brain. Because I know there was the Marvel comics and, I think it was Dark Horse did some Godzilla comics. Going in, just adding a little bit more pigment with some tapered, brush dabs as we go away from the light source. And I actually missed a piece of underpainting, which has been bugging me for the last 15 minutes. So pardon me while I go in and fix a mistake that I made. Yes, with his sidekick Godzuki. Yes. But he flew around and he talked. Yes. Yep. I remember that one. I do. Got our orange. Let's add a little bit more. Just a dab of that magenta. Let's get some of this cadmium red medium here. This is just cadmium red medium. It's one of your three primary colors. I think we need just a little bit more of that to soften it. Gonna be bold, right? We got Desiree singing in the comment section. Oops. What I'm doing right here is just pushing back the green that's in front of the dinosaurs with just a little tiny bit of our red, just a little tiny bit and some water. And it's just really softening up the green and making it more of a brown color. A little too much water there. And this is mixing on the page, coming back with just a little bit more green. It's a little too red. And this is actually one of the things that I would say I'm pretty good at. Whether it's oil painting or watercolor mixing, I can see the little bits of pigment as they move. I'm just very comfortable doing this. And it's just because I've made so many mistakes over the years that I've had to learn how to fix it on the fly. Some of our weekly regulars are not in because they themselves are on podcasts on other channels tonight. Our good pal Eli has a show that he's on, and I think he's promoting his book that he's been working on for a few years now. And hope that's going well over on whatever that channel is. I'm sure he's got it on his profile if you want to check it out. And this is the first live stream since I dropped my first comic trailer of the Undersea Hero. I, of course, had to put together myself. It's silly music and poorly animated bits and stock photos, or stock footage, excuse me. If you haven't seen it, it's on my Facebook and my YouTube page. We don't have to do a ton to Godzilla because he's pretty much like that dark gray color. So I'll just come back in with a little bit more of the Payne's gray now that it's dried. Let's do a little more shading. Does Godzilla have like a red tongue if he opens his mouth, or is it like all gray? Do you need to add just a little bit of shading to the sword here? Depends on the version. Well, this fellow wanted an older version. That's what I tried to draw. So if it's the Toho OG Godzilla. Red or pink? Okay. We can do that. Need some water. I'm talking too much. I'm actually going to bring some more of this gray back into this section here. You can't tell probably on screen, but I think it needs just a little bit more cooling. Because the ink I use is pretty neutral. OG would be black and white. That's true. That's true. You are correct. That's how I first saw it. I did not see a color Godzilla movie for a long time because also my parents, when I was a kid, one of the TVs they had was a black and white TV. I'm actually going to come back in with just a little bit of yellow on these fellows here along there. Highlights. This is just right on the edge of their highlights. Like if I had planned it out a little better, I would have probably done this first when I was underpainting, but wasn't feeling super confident going into it, so waited till the end. And you can, because we're doing, and actually if Michael's still in the room, one of the benefits to painting on Bristol board as opposed to watercolor paper is that the paint is on top of the Bristol. It only absorbs so much, and you can go back in and actually lighten it and move it. If you look at it, it's actually pulling paint away, and you can actually use a wet brush. I'll show you. Just to pull off pigment. Like if you make a really bad mistake, you can go in and just use that and then grab your paper towel and then pull it off. And you can keep moving it. It's got more of a gouache quality to it at that point. See, I'm able to go back in and just put like a little bit right along the edge of that highlight, just a touch of yellow, and it just makes it pop just a little bit. At least I think it does. Just right along the edge. That's a nice little color bump. The really good artists know how to plan that stuff out in advance. The rest of us, like journeymen, we figure it out as we go along, right? Don't want to overdo it, but just a little here and there. It really adds a nice feeling to the whole piece. It gives you that nice illuminated feel. but making sure to keep plenty of white there because it's really important to leave the paper showing through. There we go. Then we definitely need some along the edge of those ears. We spent all that effort last week was to make sure we got the ears in the picture, so we really gotta make sure that they're there and that people notice them. I've honestly, yeah, Michael, friends of mine really love it, but I've just never been able to afford it. I mean, just being honest. It's it's expensive to the point where I don't know if I have the skill to make the difference between that board and decent Bristol board worth the investment, if I'm being honest. Like that's my personal going into it. Um, for me, I just if you can afford it, go nuts. My buddy Nate likes that board. Nate Lovett. He really liked that board. Maybe if I get like a gift card to some place that has it, I'll order some and mess around with it. I actually used my in-laws are very nice and they give me a gift card to Blick every Christmas, and I just bought like I waited till Bristol was on sale and I bought like 10 pads of it. When I paint a lot, I can get the warm and cool underpainting usually from the jump. But this time I've just been a little rusty. Now we got to get the handle to Usagi's sword. I don't remember what color it is. Oh, it's green. Oh, very nice. Hey, Eli. I was just we promoted your interview. I hope some people popped over and checked it out. I like these Princeton round sable brushes, but I also like some of the cheapo brushes because they get different effects. Like they all do different things, and it's just been a long process of figuring out what I like. This paper on this sketch cover for watercolor is not ideal. This one has not been very good. It's pretty light. There's been some saturation points, um, but we're working our way through it. It's reminding me of the college days when I was just learning figuring out how to paint on Bristol. And we just get a little yellow here and there to give it a little zip. Um, we need a brown, so we've got to mix a little green and some red, right? And I'm hoping that hitting it with some fixative will help normalize some of the colors. I won't be able to do that till tomorrow, but it's okay. Got a nice rich brown that we'll use for our sandals. And do you like to do watercolor, Eli? I think most of the stuff I've seen from you has all been colored digitally. Maybe back in the day, were you bust out some paint? Really? I would think that with your precision, you'd be very good at it, especially like a dry brush technique. I think you would excel at it. You both quit, your father and you. Oh, so your father, did he at least like to, was he an artist? Did he like to mess around with paints and stuff? Like, what was that? Oh, your father was an artist. He did oil and pastel. Very cool. I did not know that. Adding a little more pigment, like we talked about on this paper, the pigment's sitting on top, so we can keep moving it around, keep adding little bits of water to it. We can't remove it entirely, but we can still work with it. You keep doing different stuff with it. Oh, that's right. We got to get Godzilla's little pink spot. I'm just gonna remove some of the, just take some of the pigment out and do a little water. See if we can get that to a point. Here we go. Tough to see from far away, but we just filled that in. Eli says his woodcuts are amazing. He's more of an artist than I am. He kept his art separate from his paying job, kept it pure, which I respect. He's still with us, still showing at galleries in Vermont and New Hampshire. Wow. If you don't mind, I'll have to look him up and check out his work. I'd really like to see that. Of course, I missed a spot. It's that kind of day. Pulled too much paint, too. How about that? All right, let's get our, yeah, little tiny cross hatches. Wanted it to have the texture of like a, um, what's that stuff? Like burlappy kind of texture. Well, we've made it to the end of tonight, my friends, and thank you for hanging out with me for another drawing. Today we did a little watercoloring, so that was fun, and yeah, I hope to see you guys next week. And yeah, those Undersea Hero books still cooking. And a big announcement on Monday. So thanks so much, Eli. Keep an eye out. Probably it'll be the biggest cover of the year for sure, and it's one of the biggest ones of my career, especially from a fan's perspective. So thanks everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.